My name is Bart Herbison, Executive Director of the Nashville Songwriters Association. And this week, for the Tennessean, the story behind the song, our subject is the legendary Mr. Roger Cook.
Yes.
Roger, I sit in awe of you to this day. Well, Roger, I could argue that you may have written the most recognizable song ever. It is certainly one of them. And we started a little earlier to talk about Coca-Cola. The song is I'd Like to Teach the World to Sing. Talk about the song and how it became a commercial, and another commercial, and another commercial.
Well, I co-wrote the song, of course.
Right.
I'd like to have written it all. I'd be so much more wealthy. But no, yes, well, it was just another jingle session with a brand new catchphrase. It's the real thing. And they asked for it, did we have any tunes, we could build an idea around? And we had this tune. We'd had it left over from a real dog of a record with a terrible lyric, but we had this good tune. We sang the tune to them, they said, yeah, that's a nice tune. And then we came up with the idea of, I'd like to teach the world to sing. But it was a 60-second jingle, and we got paid for it, and that was that. Well, a year later, Coca-Cola decided they want something rather anthemic, to say, hey, the world should all get together and we should all be happy, black and white people loving each other, and anyway, so a man called Bill Backer, who came up with it, It's the Real Thing. He played this to the Coca-Cola people, and they loved it, and they decided they were going to do this big commercial around it. So they have all these kids from the embassy, and they put them on a hillside in London, and it rained for 4 days. They tried to get shots going, but it just rained. In the end, the ad guy who was doing all the filming, the producer, said, let's take this somewhere else. So they went to Rome, where there was, again, a bunch of embassies and a load of kids. First day out filming, it rained all day. But eventually, they got it done. The funny thing is, the guy who did the ad, the producer, got fired shortly afterwards because he exceeded the budget by about $150,000, which in 1972 was a lot of money. So they fired him, and he just produced one of the most successful commercials ever, but that's life, isn't it? And then suddenly, Coca-Cola, the bottling plant, started getting hundreds of thousands of bloody letters in, saying, where can we find the sheet music? Is there a record? Can we buy the song in any shape or form? So a guy called Billy Davis, who produced the original jingles, went into the studio and produced a couple of records, both of which went into the top 10 at the time, which is very unusual.
The Seeker, who?
The Seekers and a group called the Hilltoppers.
Right.
They both ran up the charts together, and the Seekers beat them to it. They got further up the charts. And suddenly we had a song and an income from a song.
And that was sung in every country on the planet.
Just about.
Do you remember the first time you saw the commercial? I do, and I'd never seen anything like it.
It was one of the first film. It was like a video, a very early video. This is 1972. Video was still in its infancy, and it was the first video of that song. Whenever they played it on TV, the group wasn't available to sing it live. They showed the kids on the hillside with the Coke bottles and everything. So it was a very, very successful little film, It started something going, which has been going ever since,
And they've done it more than once.
Oh yeah, they resurrect it every now and again. And you're right, it's a song that grandmothers know, kids in school learn it. And there's a southern church called the Lord's Chapel. They're everywhere. And they sing the words of Amazing Grace to the tune of I'd Like to Teach the World to Sing.
Let's do a little bit of it a cappella. It's just the most recognizable. And you know what, Roger? The song's very uplifting. Don't you think?
Yeah. Well, I've spent the money, so I've learned to love it.
So we'll end with a little a cappella rendition of it. This week for the Tennessean, the story behind the song, Mr. Roger Cook with I'd Like to Teach the World to Sing.
First verse. I'd like to buy the world a home and furnish it with love. Grow apple trees and honey bees and snow-white turtle doves. I'd like to see the world for once all standing hand in hand and hear them echo through the hills for peace throughout the land. And I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to hold it in my arms and keep it company. It's the real thing. Coke is in the back of your mind, what you hoping.